Isotopes. Now we talked about isotopes in a previous lesson, and we've learned that isotopes are basically the same kind of atoms, but with different amounts of neutrons. Because of the different amount of neutrons, you will have isotopes that are heavier than other types of isotopes. In our previous lesson, we talked about hydrogens, and that there are three types of hydrogens in nature. And that we have hydrogen 1, hydrogen 2, and hydrogen 3. Hydrogen 1 has the mass of 1, that's why it's called hydrogen 1, and its mass comes from that single proton. Hydrogen 2 has a mass of 2, and its mass comes from one proton, because proton number is what determines the atom. And it has another mass which is contributed by the existence of that one neutron. So it has a mass of 2 because the relative mass of protons and neutrons are quite equal. So it has 2. Hydrogen 3 will have one proton, but because it has the mass of 3, it has 2 other neutrons. That gives it a total number of a mass of 3. Okay? Now, it's quite important to know that isotopes will have very similar chemical properties. And the reason why they have similar chemical properties is because they have the same amount of electrons. Okay? Now, let's take a look at our hydrogens again. Hydrogens have only one electron. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about hydrogen 1, 2, or 3, those hydrogens only have one electron out there. And for chemistry, what determines all chemical properties is the electrons. How the electrons are doing, what are they doing, how they're behaving, how are they moving, how are they receiving or exerting energy. Okay? If you understand how the electrons are doing and how the electrons are behaving, then you got half the syllabus covered. Alright, moving on. Isotopes may have different physical properties. Alright? The reason why they have different physical properties is because of the mass. It has extra neutrons, perhaps. Alright? And that extra neutron will affect its density, for example, or the rate of diffusion, for another example. Alright? And because isotopes have different amount of neutrons, alright, some isotopes may have unstable nucleus. Alright? Some isotopes may have an unstable nuclei that can break up spontaneously. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next lesson, about unstable isotopes that break down spontaneously and emit radiation. And, yep.